Triple G. Brace yourself for the things you'll see. From comic books to toys and more. And all cartoons that we adore. Pop culture, flicks and geeky stuff. We love it all and can't get enough. So settle in and enjoy the show. Please hit like and subscribe before you go.
How's it hanging, YouTube? It's Peter here, your ginger Geordie Geek. Welcome back to the channel for a bit of an early start, and we are talking tonight all things Superman. So I've assembled a super team.
And Alex.
And Alex, yeah, and Alex. So we've got comic lad Simon. How are you, Simon?
I'm all right. How are we?
Alex,
I
are
don't
you
know.
at the show?
I don't know. I'd have said.
Get your hands up.
Oh, sorry.
We've all got to do the Simon wave. Simon wave. Hello. Good
Hello.
stuff. Good stuff. It's nice to see you, comic lad Simon, once again. Now we are joined by a new streamer with us tonight, someone that's been on my channel and Sorrel's channel in the chat many occasions. But joining us for the first time tonight, we have got the Collector's Den. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I hope you don't mind the very over-the-top name. That's my Instagram page that I followed you guys on. If you want to drop me a follow, feel free. You know,
We'll see how the night goes.
Or don't. You know, let's see how much they like me. You know, they could be getting motion sickness from this laptop shaking.
Yeah, Alex is actually on a boat
audio.
in the Med, so that's why he's popping up. Welcome, Alex. It's nice to join. Now we're talking Superman.
Thanks for having me,
I know
guys.
you've seen the movie, so looking forward to getting your thoughts. We are joined as usual by the good old Super Sorrel. How are you, Sorrel?
I'm good, man. I don't like the name Super Squad. I think I was the thing with the Justice Squad, aren't we?
Yeah, the Justice Squad. Let's go with Justice
Shameless
Squad.
plug. Shameless
Justice
plug
Squad.
for the movie.
Shameless plug. Yeah. Are you well? Are you good?
Yeah, not bad at all. I've just been live myself, so I'm an hour in and I'm knackered now. But,
so I watched some of yours.
Mate,
And I know you
garbage
put
on there.
I know you put a divert on. I'm scanning the chat for a few names.
Yeah.
Because if they ask me for free toys and stuff like that, they'll be.
Oh, that I don't know who that was. They were winding me the fuck up. Oh, they're probably winding me up.
Yeah, it was
Send me
fun.
free
It
stuff.
was
Sell
fun.
me stuff. Send me free. And then they asked me, does my dad buy my stuff? I'm like, yeah, because I'm a grown man. My dad buys me everything.
You see, we have different kind of age brackets on these channels. Because the vast majority of my viewers are probably 40 plus, I would imagine. The vast majority of yours are like 10 minus, I think. So,
so.
It is a bit different. And as usual, we've got, and ladies and gents, now we've been winding them up today a little bit before we've gone live, but I do feel sorry for him. Mr. Keegan is worn out. He's woken up just in time for the show, really, because he's been to the gym today, haven't you, Mr. Keegan?
I have no shame, Peter. You're there trying to embarrass me now. I don't care. I told you of my free will. My sole excuse to go out of the house today was to go to the gym, and I got to the gym, and I got to the locker room, and I went to change, and I realized I didn't have my gym shorts, so I packed up and I left.
Good for
Went
him.
to bed.
So I went to
and then
the
went
gym
to bed.
I had some food first, and then I went to bed.
Yep. I went as far as KFC. I went as far as KFC.
I had chicken and stuffing.
That's not the gym,
fries,
trust me.
and, yeah.
He's
I have
done
meatballs. I have some meatballs soaking in some
a lot more than I have today.
You went to the gym, used all the machines, the crisp machine, the pop machine, all of them, didn't you, James? You were worn out by the end of it.
I got a protein bar in there as well. You know?
Oh,
You gotta do that. Protein
Anyway, let's see who is in the guys. I don't know where you guys are. I can see from James's face. But hot. Is it hot where you guys are as well? Is it hot at sea, Alex? Are you all right in the boat? Or?
Breezy. I got my industrial fan with me.
Right,
Let's just
let's
hope
see
I don't
who
run
we-
into Aquaman.
Let's see who we've got in the chat. We have got Aussie AC. Good day. Nice to see you, bud. Hope you're well. We've got Terry. Good evening. How long do I need to keep the volume down? We're going to tell you when we're going to go into movie spoilers section, Terry. So keep an eye for that. Chris Bell. Good evening, everyone. Ready to talk soups. We've got Wayne Deacon. Wayne, I hate crypto. He really doesn't like crypto. I don't know why. I don't know why. Chris loves everything Wayne hates. We've got Andy. Nice to see you, Andy. Going well, but a little bit warm. Who else we got? Who else we got? We've got Joshy Boy Toys. Nice to see you, Joshy. Thank you very much for joining. Chris is saying, putting it down there real early, best superhero movie in years by some distance. Well, we're going to get to it, Chris. We're going to get to it.
Controversy.
Yeah, we've got Shelley. Nice to see you, Shelley. Thank you so much for joining. Do appreciate it. And we've got Fuzzy of the Dunlop. Just got back 15 minutes ago. Glad I went to see it. Very impressive. Fantastic. Fuzzy, you don't go to the cinema that often, I don't think, do you? So I'm pleased you've journeyed.
I told him
out
he
for
should
it.
go, and I think that's what.
That's what it is.
motivated him
That's
to
what
Just
it
go.
is.
listen to you, James.
Yeah, people just hanging on your every word, Mr. Keegan. You influencer, you.
I really shouldn't be
influencer.
influencing anyone. I'm a cock up. Like I'm just saying how much of an idiot I felt like. That I'm after trekking all the way here, and it's like, oh great, I'll just go home and hang my head in shame. Yeah.
It's not your real name. I'm shocked, Alex. Fuzzy thought that was your real name. Let's have a look. The Odd Squad. Thanks, Fuzzy. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We've got Stephen. Nice to see Stephen. Stephen, huge thank you, Stephen. Just going to quickly show you this, guys. Make myself big. I was pressing the wrong button. Christ.
You're making James big.
Jesus.
The stash.
So Stephen sent us this. Have you guys seen these?
I
This
didn't
is
see
the
that
promotional-
cinema, no.
No, it wasn't at the cinema. It was
Yeah,
promotional newsstands.
Ah.
When I was in London and took the Blag on Meat and Gun, someone had actually bought one of them and managed to get him to sign it. And
Really?
I left that day. I left and I thought, you lucky so and so to have one of them and to frame it. I was so jealous.
So I was really impressed because Stephen sent us this. I thought this was just going to be, a mock-up. But it's like a full, proper newspaper. There's like articles and there's quizzes and stuff in. It's written like it's the Daily Planet,
That's cool.
It's really cool. Really, really cool. So, yeah, thank you so much for sending us that. I really do appreciate it. Okie dokie. Where do we get up to? Excuse me. Sorry. Simon's dad does buy his stuff. Yeah. Imran, nice to see you, Imran. Was just on Super Sorrel stream, and that guy was so annoying. Which one? Sorrel or
That
the guy
guy's
in the
still
chat?
here.
Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much. Keegas, yeah, you're a little bit low. Is that? Don't know if that's just me.
You fucking told me the other day I was too loud.
What,
So
you
it's my
turn
fault.
yourself down?
Yes, it's completely your
It's-
fault.
it's- sorry.
I've got.
Well, at least
I've
it's not
turned
just me
on
that's
the-
having audio issues.
I've turned on the automatically adjust setting.
Seems
so
a
it
bit
should
better
be
now. It does seem a bit,
Who's
bit better.
who's got the fan blowing into the microphone? By the way, who's that?
That's me. Is it
Is that Alex?
is it going to become a hindrance? Yeah,
No,
I will
no,
turn it
it's fine.
off. If
Every
it's too annoying.
every so often you can sort of in there.
Just think of it as the waves rippling as I,
It's the waves. It's the waves.
go over the Atlantic. Yeah.
Hi, Kenneth. Nice.
I mean,
to
I don't know why
join.
I'd bring a 65-inch TV with me, but
It's true. Keega's got into my head. Lois on page 3. Yeah, but I can't show it off on this stream. It's it's yeah. Anyway, chaps, let's
Americans
crack
get
on.
that joke. I love that.
No. Yeah. I certainly remember page 3. Anyway, we're here tonight, guys, to talk Superman. I'm not going to try and keep you too long because it is sweltering hot. But before we get into the movie, ladies and gents, just a few quick slides about the character himself. And before we get into that, guys, just tell us a little bit about Superman in your eyes. Is it a character that you are drawn to? Is it a character you like, or is it? Sorry,
He's grown up.
distracted. Simon didn't get it either.
I got it. I read the
Interestingly,
Sun.
Simon, if we put two of your heads next to each other, it would look like a page 3 spread, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably would.
Anyway, Simon, we'll start with you, mate. What does Superman mean to you as a character?
Well, obviously Christopher Reeve started the Superman movies, and I watched them as a kid. I love Superman with the animated DC cartoons as well. Justice League. He's the main guy of DC.
Okay.
You see, so for me, he is more so than Batman, because Batman is like to me, he's like Superman's sort of helpful sidekick in a way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he does
Batman-
help Superman out a lot,
He does.
doesn't he?
He
He
does.
does.
Batman
So
is
that's
Superman's
how I
helpful
see
sidekick.
Superman, and
Good stuff.
he's like, we all brought up with Superman, and he was a sort of you know, I used to watch Superman and I used to watch Spider-Man and things like that, and they were all my like childhood sort of characters. So.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Simon. Thank you. Alex, what does Superman mean to you? Don't
Sorry, I look
just
so
list what
distracted.
film he's been in, all right? Just what does Superman mean to you?
I did my research. I'm not just IMDb and how many movies there have been.
It does feel like Simon just put it into Chat GPT, who is Superman. He just started reading.
No, I was never really drawn to the character growing up. I think it's as I got older and we've had all these different versions. That's kind of what drew me into him more. That's why I always say I found Cavill's version to be the most appealing to me. It was darker. It was very realistic. It got political at times, you know, and he wore his pants the right way round as well. That's really what made me interested in it.
That's fighting talk. That's fighting talk.
So sorry. on the
Sorrel,
subject
how about
of super pants.
On the what? I didn't catch that. Sorry.
No, I was okay. Right, yeah. On the subject of super pants, while I was reading the All-Star issue, I actually made a discovery. What are the correct term for his underwear he wears?
Trunks.
Anyone? No, Kryptonian overpants.
Oh.
There we go.
See, Simon? See?
Now they don't look as stupid anymore.
Alex has been on the show less than 5 minutes, and already I'm considering replacing you completely.
Oh. Thank God for Wikipedia.
We should also point out, by the way,
joking.
that as well as being on a boat, Alex is beaming with Think from Australia. So there might be sometimes a bit of a delay where he's not quite getting what we're saying until a couple of seconds afterwards. Isn't that right, Simon?
Simon.
Alex. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorrel.
Yes.
Sorrel.
Yes.
How about yourself? What does
See,
Superman mean to
definitely.
you?
I think I think
Wait,
I,
hold on.
I,
Repeat that. My audio's going again. Oh, there we go. Yep.
can't tell if he's joking or not. That's the thing.
If he is joking, he's a comedy genius.
Didn't really go how I planned this, did it? Yeah.
Sorrel. Jesus, Sorrel.
So, see, I think I'm especially on this stream, I'm probably in the vocal minority where I would say that I couldn't give two tosses about Superman until this movie. I'm going to be brutally honest.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I was more into Adam West Batman. I was never into Christopher Reeves and the original movies. They didn't know for me. I don't know. This movie, I thought he was really great though. I enjoyed the comic book version. I liked him.
Good. We're going to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Mr. Keegan, how about yourself?
Yeah, like growing up, I wasn't really. I'd say I fall somewhere between Alex and Zorro there. Like I didn't really connect with the character growing up. I liked the animated series. I remember I watched not religiously, but I watched episodes here and there, and I enjoyed that. But yeah, like the Cavill version is like the first one. I was really like, oh my god, this is amazing. Even though I was very aware that like tonally, it's not quite in the spirit of what the comic books are. You know, like he's not really a Boy Scout in that. So that like that element I've never really connected with until this one either. You know?
Okay, grand, good stuff. Right then, chaps. So we're gonna canter through this with a bit of pace. Being a whole host of different Supermen over the years and different Lex Luthors, I think we're all probably most familiar with Christopher Reeve. What are you laughing at, Sorrel?
The fact that you've included Nicolas Cage in there.
No, I mean, you know what I mean? He's been Superman. It was atrocious, but he has been Superman.
It might have been 15 seconds, but it was still 15 seconds of screen time.
Absolutely, and he hated it. He absolutely hated it, which is quite sad. But we've had a whole host of different Supermen. Tom Welling, famously from Smallville, obviously didn't really wear the costume till the very end. Brandon Roth got to play him in the movie and also in Kingdom Come, in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, in the Arrowverse, which was pretty cool. And then we've got probably the most recent ones that people are familiar with, Henry, Tyler, and obviously David. And then we've got a whole host of different Lex Luthors. Now, keeping the current iterations out, do any of those jump out at you? Any of them hold a special place in your heart? Obviously, for me, it's Christopher Reeve. Anyone for anybody
What
else?
of the Supermen? You mean? Sorry.
Yeah, the Superman.
If I had to choose any of that, it would be Cavill, probably, out of all of them. I liked Cavill's interpretation. He actually, he didn't have padding in his suit. He worked out to look like that, and yeah, he's a proper geek at heart as well, which helps. He does read comic books and stuff, so yeah,
He's
I like
big
his
into Warhammer. Isn't
He is massive into Warhammer, yeah.
Alex, any for you?
Well, I mean, I'm not familiar with a lot of them. I've seen Reeves, Cavill, and I keep calling him Sweat Corn. Has anyone else been doing that? It's Corn Sweat. I keep saying Sweat Corn. It's so embarrassing the amount of times I've said that to people. Definitely for me the standouts are Cavill and Corn Sweat. Two very different takes on the character, and it gave them both realism, but as well as that, it kind of died. Especially Corn Sweat, it died him down a bit. He wasn't like super duper overpowered. He struggled to do a lot of the things that classic Superman does.
Absolutely. Simon, do you recognize Tom Welling or Dean Cain? Did you watch any of those shows?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I recognise those. I didn't watch. I did watch a bit, maybe as a kid, with Dean Cain. I don't recognise Jared Christopher or the Newton one. So to say that they're after Christopher Reeve, I remember as a kid watching Christopher Reeve just at my nan's, and that was always on and things like that. And then Dean Cain, and I did watch a lot of Smallville, Tom Welling. So obviously not with the suit on. So
Jared Christopher was in a TV series called Superboy. So it was 2 seasons, and that's the 2 Superboys from that season. I don't remember anything about it. Although if you go back and have a look at some of the stills from it, it had some pretty comic accurate renditions of things like Mr. Plicklix, I can never get his name right, and all those kind of characters. How about you, Mr. Keegan?
Yeah, I watched a bit of Smallville. I like Tom Holland in that, but I didn't like the whole how restricted they were with no capes, no flying, no whatever, So that annoys me. I'm happy that shows nowadays embrace all that stuff, But yeah, Cavill, I just love that interpretation. I loved the epicness of it. I felt and I think he brought a lot of gravitas to that character, And I think he is very charming. I feel as well,
The thing I liked as well with Cavill, Snyder said he did based him on like kind of make him look like an actual god as opposed to a ordinary man in a onesie.
He's treated like a messiah in it. There's
Absolutely. And it is my favorite costume out of all of them personally.
It does look very cool.
Yeah. What would Nicolas Cage as Superman have been like? Can you just imagine that voice as Superman?
Do you know what?
My parents left me here from Krypton. And
I mean, it's no surprise to anybody. I love me a bit of Nicolas Cage, but he's not the right style of actor for Superman.
Well, you're gonna be surprised in the next year, Pete, when Amazon get the Spider-Man Noir live action series. You
see, I think that works. I think Spider-Man Noir works for that. Yeah, I think that because he's behind a mask and all the rest of it, he's spooky. Yeah,
anyone could be Spider-Man. That's what Stanley said. Sorry, right. we're going completely off DC now. Right. I'll just shut up.
And I mean, Lex Luthor is in a big tower, and I'm gonna get him.
That was quite good. I like that.
He would have made a great Lex Luthor, actually.
He would have been a great Lex.
He would have been awesome.
Just to mention, guys, Christopher Reeve. Did you notice his son was in this movie as well? As a reporter
on the TV.
Right.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really cool. Just going to quickly jump to the chat, guys. Excuse me. Fuzzy's just saying, I wasn't a Supes fan until this year, but now I'm a complete opposite. It's changed my reading habits completely. I'm now Team DC. See, I've been saying for a long time, there are some great, if you read the right books, there are some great Superman stories out there. When he's done well, he's done incredibly well. And I absolutely agree, Fuzzy. Superman and Lois, best Supes, underrated. Superb, couple of seasons, TV show. I think it's about 4 seasons. Well worth checking that out. Wayne grew up with Reeves and Cain. I think I did as well, mate. Brendan Roth, underappreciated, but Christopher Reeve for the win. Please stop saying Reeves, some of you. So Brendan was a superb. Almost did a kind of a homage to Christopher, I think. But yeah, it was superb. Very, very good. Very good. Stephen, Reeves Superman was the best Superman for me. Dean Cain was all right. I really enjoyed that series. The new movie is now my favourite for all the Supermen by far. Good stuff. Good stuff. We've got SM. Nice to see you, SM. You forgot the one on the Titans TV show. That's Superboy. Don't think Superman has appeared in the Titans TV show. SM. But there is a Superboy, quite a good version of Superboy as well, to be honest. And it's not actually Clark. It's the clone, isn't it? It's Connor. Yeah. Shelley, I agree. Nick Cage is definitely not Superman material. I mean, he can do every other performance in every other show, as far as I'm concerned, but not Superman. Sorrel only speaks when he can do a dodgy impression.
Mate, Fuzzy, I'd speak a lot more if I could get a word in friggin' edgeways. Jesus.
I'd say we all put a vote and say Sorrel does a Nick Cage impression the rest of the stream.
I don't think I can cope. I don't think I can cope with that. Shelley's just saying, I've just started watching Superman and Lois. Shelley, it's one of my favourite all-time TV series. It's absolutely superb.
What's that on? Where could I watch that then?
It was on the BBC, Simon. Yeah,
I think it is. It's still on iPlayer. I watched the first 3 episodes. Very good. Very good.
It's probably on. It's probably on like on demand, like Sky or Now TV or something as well, because it's a Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
property.
That's right. That is very right. I wonder how the Superman curse will affect the new guy. Yeah, you guys familiar with that?
Yeah.
Superman curse?
Yeah, a lot of the actors who've played Superman have died tragically. Terry's trying to pick us. Terry's picking fights tonight. You had 2 Superboys on your slide.
I mean, I didn't want to be the one to say it, but yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I've got Kal-El Superboy. I've got Kal-El Superboy, and my point was that the Superboy that SM's talking about is Connor. He's not Superman at all. It's a clone. So it's a clone of Superboy and Lex Luthor. Don't come at me about Superman, those guys. Come on. Anyway, moving on, chaps. Moving on. Superman stories. There are some incredible tales out there. Some really, really first-class stories. I'd always recommend people read Superman for all seasons. That Superman Annual is one of my favourite stories of all time by Alan Moore. Superman, what's it called again? For the Man Who Has Everything or something. Where it's where Mongol gives him the Black Mercy. It's superb. Kingdom Come, and then Action Comics 75, where he faces off against Manchester Black. Great story. And then we've got a whole host of other ones. Death of Superman, obviously. Superman, Peace on Earth. Red Sun is amazing.
Red Sun's an animated one as well, if you want to watch it animated. So.
Any stories that that's why you're all on my channel. He knows he's super shit. I do. Any stories in particular that you guys have read or cartoons that you've seen that you particularly enjoy about Superman?
Is there no swimsuit edition for Superman, Pete?
I don't think there is. I don't think DC did the swimsuit edition, Sorrel.
I think they've done it for Supergirl.
I know.
Ooh.
Wow. I know I've introduced you to the X-Men super swimsuit.
Mate, people have been introducing me over the last couple of days to a lot of the images. People have been Instagramming me photos of these comic books, and yeah, my wife's got questions now. Anyway.
Yeah, there are some odd ones. So no, I don't think I've ever seen a Superman swimsuit edition. Not that I don't. I think I wouldn't want to either. Any stories that you guys? I mean, Alex, you've been reading. Is it Superman?
Yeah. I read this in one sitting. All Star Superman. I must say, I really like the compact comics. You know, if they could do more of these, I'd have like a box full because they're just so, easy to get through. They're cheap. I think I paid £8 for it. And, it doesn't take up a lot of space. And that's kind of what I want, especially when it comes to books.
So
it doesn't look like a compact comic. It looks like a proper full-size graphic novel.
It does. But, it's got, all the little segments in it, they're quite smaller than an average book. But,
so these are DC's new line of books, and they're fantastic. And like you say, they're about £8. There's some great stories in them. Ideal if you're going on holiday or somewhere. You got just to stick in the suitcase.
Yeah, I spent about 10 minutes looking at the back when I finished the book. I'm definitely picking up Hush. That's one I've been saying for years I want to read. But I definitely think my next purchase would be For All Seasons because people keep, saying how great that book is, and it's one I've not read yet. So that would definitely be my next purchase.
Hold that one up again, Alex, for us, mate.
So.
Is that the one? Is it Grant Morrison? It is, isn't it? I think that's got one of my favourite ever Superman scenes in it, where you've got the young girl who's about to commit suicide.
Yeah, beautiful
and he
moment.
just stands next to her, and it's about 4 panels or something like that. I use it every Suicide Awareness Day because it's about 4 panels, and it's one of the most. It tells me everything that Superman is.
What he stands for.
So
absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So do you enjoy that book?
Yeah. I mean, I could see it had elements to Gunn's movie. Obviously, there were a couple of weird moments in it that I thought could have been left out of the issues, but I didn't make it. But there's a lot of stuff going forward that I feel I could see Gunn using from All Stars going forward. Because it's completely different. And that's kind of what I want to see. Like Superman is for everyone. You all have your own favorite Superman. That's why when I see all these idiots protesting about restore this, that, and the other, I just think, shut up, get on with it.
Absolutely.
Get off
we're
my
gonna
feed.
we're gonna come to that later on, Alex, because you're absolutely right. It's become so
Toxic.
diverse. Toxic's a great word. Yeah. Simon, how about you? Have you read any Superman books that you enjoyed?
I picked up the All-Star Superman as well. Thoroughly. That's because James Gunn said pick it up, so I actually picked it up way before.
You're a sheep,
Weirdly,
you do
though,
what
I
people
was
say at all times.
well, I'm influenced, James. I'm influenced easy.
Did you
I
enjoy
bought
it,
it 'cause I was
Simon?
told to buy it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
obviously a lot of the material I was expecting in this wasn't in the movie. So I think a lot of that is going to come next is from this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think, I guess for me, and again, not getting into a tit for tat of Snyder versus Gunn or anything like that, the Snyderverse version of Superman was quite grounded to an extent. That book you've just read shows the kind of science fiction side of Superman. You've got weird experiments, you've got Bizarro, you've got Lex Luthor being a scientist nutcase. And I wonder if that's why Gunn got you to read it, not because it's going to be play for play what's in the film, but because it kind of introduces you more to the more fantastical elements of Superman, the more comic book.
Yeah,
for want of a
I
better
mean,
word,
Pete, I like to be fair, I like Superman when he goes crazy and goes bad.
Yeah, me too. I love the Dark
so,
Superman story. Yeah.
One of the animated ones I thoroughly enjoy is Superman vs. the Elite animated. That was one of my favorite Superman stories ever, where he just flips. He tries to be nice as pie, and they just push him to the max.
Yeah,
So Simon,
Justice is a really phenomenal one.
Sorry, Simon, that book in the center there, bottom center, Superman Action Comics, the one with them on the front with the fire behind. That's what that animated movie's based on.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so that's the comic book, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So for those that haven't read it, it's one of my favorite stories. It's basically the new team of superheroes come, a hip team who are killing bad guys, and it's all about questioning whether Superman is still relevant in the world, and whether really this new more vigilante based heroes is what really the world needs. And as Simon says, by the end of it, Superman just goes nuts and he wipes everybody out, or so you think. And it ends with him basically saying, look, it's dead easy, I could kill whoever I want, but actually it's much more powerful and more meaningful for us to hold back and to have restraint and to show care and compassion and stuff like that.
But then
it's a great story.
There is the other side of Injustice where he does lose it. The game. So, like James is saying.
I definitely think in the peak of the last 7 years, with all the silence of Superman, with rights issues, what's going on with the brand, stuff like that, DC having an argument with one another, blah blah blah. We've seen a lot of different, superhuman, evil, Superman-esque characters. Omni-Man, Homelander. That one with the kid on the boy with Elizabeth Banks. I can never remember the name of it. Was it Blight or something? No, that's
something.
A DC character.
No, but you were right. It's something like that. Yeah.
It was James Gunn's Burn Bright. Can't remember which one it is.
That's the one I was referring to. Yeah. So we've had so many dark, Superman-esque characters the last 7 years. It's nice. It's refreshing because now we're back to Superman, and again, it's different. It's moving forwards, not going backwards.
Absolutely. Yeah. James, can you read? Have you read anything?
I read for the Man Who Has Everything because you recommended it on your recommendation, Peter, and I loved it. That was really great.
What's the best scene in that? What's the best scene in that?
The best scene in that?
One word in that. It gets us every time.
What?
In that story that you've read, there's one word which I love every time, which is where Mongel's got his hand over Superman's head, and Superman just says "burn." And then you just see the heat vision kind of.
Yes,
yeah.
I
love it.
I just gone completely blank. I'm still half asleep, to be honest.
You've had a hard day, mate.
I know, right? Really. Yeah, outside of that, I've not read. I more so read things that have Superman in them rather than being actual Superman stories. You know, so the Injustice comics, I really enjoyed stuff like that. So yeah, I've not read about many. All-Star Superman, I want to give it a go anyway because I'm in the mood now for Superman stuff, and if that's very in line with what the spirit of the character, I think I'll go for that.
And that's the great thing about this film, isn't it? Because I've spoken to a lot of people who've come out of the movie and they want to know and read more Superman. So that's quite good. Just going to jump in the chat, guys, before we move on. Wayne said his old man drove Christopher Reeve. He said he was such a lovely person. Yeah, I heard nothing but nice things about Christopher Reeve. Best friends with Robin Williams as well, near the end there, bless him.
Did you ever read that story of when I think it was after he had the accident, and I don't know if it was he woke up from the coma or the surgery, and Robin Williams come in, and I think he put a rubber glove on and said, "Right, sir, we need to check your prostate," or something like that. And he said it was the first time he had laughed since the incident, you know.
Yeah, there's two great books which detail quite a lot of that. Still Me. Can't remember what the second one was called. But yeah, very, very cool. His relationship with Robin Williams did an awful lot. Because again, being in the UK, we sometimes forget about how lucky we are with the health service over here. Even a very wealthy man like Christopher Reeve, this decimated his family and everything. And Robin Williams did an awful lot of work to support him. And he bought him his first, the big van that he needed to transport the wheelchair around and things like that. Chris, I bench pressed Reeve at my local gym before he knew anyone. As Phil's in the chat. Thank you for that, Chris. Thank you. The Death of Superman, The Man Who Has Everything, Superman, Lost Son, other good stories. Absolutely. The Death of Superman's a great one as well. I really enjoyed that. Has anyone read the novel by Roger Stern, The Life and Death of Superman? I have. Yeah, I have, Shelley. I quite like that. It's a good one as well. Quite a good one. Ozzy, the Superman Batman Public Enemies animated movie and comic got me interested in Superman. Yeah, there's some great DC animated ones. We talked on Sorrel's channel last Wednesday about some of the DC animated movies, and that's a good one, Public Enemies. Go and check out that video on Sorrel's channel. It's a good one. Was there a Super Stricky appearance? There wasn't. Stricky didn't appear, I'm afraid. I generally don't think I've read any Superman. Now I'm thinking about it. Wow, Chris. Nothing is impossible. That's the book. Thanks, Terry. We'll have to get you some books, Chris. Leave it with us. I shall find you something to read. Okay, guys, just quickly looking at scores on the doors, and I know before you all get excited and the people in the chat kick off and Rotten Tomatoes, yes, it's shite, but it is a marker, so we're just going to use it for this. Okay, so we've got the critic score, and then we've got the general public score. Superman the movie 86 and 86. That's not surprising. I think it's not surprising at all, really. Superman 2, 88, 76. Superman 3, it takes a hell of a dive, doesn't it, after Superman 2? I mean, we're dropped down to 31, 23, and then Superman, The Quest for Peace, which is utter dog shite, 14% and 16%, which is not surprising, really. Again,
Pete,
if you
as a Superman fan, I had a quick question to ask. Do you know where the final scene for The Quest of Peace was filmed?
No,
it was here in the UK. It was filmed at Milton Keynes train station. The final scene for The Quest of Peace. You know.
Very cool. I didn't realise much of it had been filmed.
Completely random fact, but yeah.
Yeah. You're like Fuzzy normally does that, so nice. Yeah. Some interesting movies there. If you've seen any interviews with Chris Reeve, you'll see that his heart wasn't in it really after Superman 2. So yeah, it does go downhill. Wayne saying he loves Superman 3. I enjoyed the scene in Superman 3 where he fights himself in the junkyard. That's pretty cool. Nico, thank you very much for joining. There's a big plot hole in Superman. Why couldn't Superman with his X-ray vision say Ultraman hammer up Bavarian's face instead of it being surprised by seeing his face? He should have known way better. Depends. If it was lead, might have been lead lined.
I would think so. Lex would have known that.
Yeah. Yeah. If it was lead lined, you can't see through lead lined stuff. 3 was my jumping on point as a kid. It hits so well for me, though 1 and 2 are better. So that's the Christopher Reeve kind of quartet, as it were. Terry's just saying the fight scene in Superman 2 was the site of Battersea Power Station. Really? Didn't know that either. We've then gone Brendan Roth. That's an interesting score. 72 critics, 60% popcorn, and then Man of Steel 57 and 75.
That's criminal.
I'm surprised the critic score is so low. And I'm
They
also
need
a
to
bit
fix those.
surprised. I'm also a bit surprised that the audience scores so low, because Man of Steel generally was quite well regarded, I think.
Because I think it's because it went off material a bit. You know, everyone was expecting a light-hearted, charming movie, whereas obviously, if you're familiar with Zack Snyder's work, his is quite darker compared to a lot of the previous stuff we'd seen with Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I am a Superman fan, so I enjoyed Man of Steel, but I don't think it's without issues. Certainly, as a Superman fan, it's not what I wanted to see him. If you look at I mean, we'll talk about it in a bit. If we look at the difference in character in terms of hope and stuff like that, having him snap Zod's neck at the end didn't work for me at all.
Man of Steel, while Cavill's version of Superman is my favorite interpretation of Superman, I thought that movie was absolutely pants. I did not like Man of Steel. It was boring as hell.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean, a
it's
few people have said that
incredible.
as well.
10 out of
Fuzzy
10,
said that in the chat.
Epic.
Don't like Man of Steel.
I mean, I was
Also
13 when it come out. Sorry, I was 13 when it come out, so I saw it in 3D. So to me, it wasn't about the story. It was like, oh, look,
It's interesting.
it's
No, I
coming
think
out
you're
the
right.
screen. You know,
But I think you're probably right, Alex. It's to that extent. It's a long time since I've watched it, so I might go back and rewatch it for the channel. For me, part of my enjoyment was I've always wanted to see a Superman film where he's fighting superpowered villains and it looks spectacular, you know. And we did get that with Man of Steel.
Yeah, I
There's
mean-
some incredible fights, but there was a lot of mope and dullness and stuff that just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
The snapping of Zod's neck didn't make
the
sense.
scene where his dad died from the hurricane.
letting his
that
dad
was
die.
ridiculous. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I say I like it for the realism aspect of it, it's like these two Goliaths matched to the death, smashing through buildings, laser eyes. You know, you're not gonna have people cheering and rooting him on.
Yeah.
They're gonna be running in fear. And you know, and just like with Batman v Superman, it had its controversies, but I like the political aspect of it, going over, you know, just the aftermath of what he had done and whether or not he was really there to protect everyone or not.
Yeah. Phil, nice to see you, Phil. Hope you're well, bud. Terry is saying I've had only recently seen Superman Returns, but watched it 3 times since. Didn't realise it was in the metal box set. Do you know what? It gets a lot of stick, but I think it's a decent movie.
I quite like Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. I thought he was really menacing, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd actually go on to say I kind of preferred him more than Nicholas Hoult. And I'm not saying he's a terrible actor. That's just a personal opinion. I just liked his really menacing thing. It's the same with who was it? Jesse Eisenberg? Is that how you pronounce the name from Man of Steel? Batman v Superman. I wasn't massive on him, you know. But that's what I mean, you know. Yeah, you have your preferences.
Again,
I always.
Sorry, I'll carry on.
I would say I always thought Jesse Eisenberg's version was more based on Lex Luthor Jr. rather than original Lex. He was more of the junior, wasn't he? In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah,
He wasn't old enough to play Lex.
I have
Let's
to
be
say
honest.
that's my worst version of Lex.
Yeah.
I kind of abide
With his
all
long
the weird-
ginger hair.
Yeah, but I can't abide all the little kind of weird and the weird noises he's making and stuff. It's like, what are you doing, man? It's weird. Fuzzy's quite right. Turns out Spacey was a bit of a menace. Yeah, yeah. Wayne Nicholas Hoult was crap as Lex. Wayne,
I wouldn't go on to say it was crap,
he's
but
one of my
you
favorites.
know, he was better than Jesse Eisenberg, but I still think I prefer Kevin Spacey. I think it may be just the age range for me. I picture Lex as like mid-40s to 50s, you know.
Yeah. Jesse Eisenberg is Mince. See how I just moved over his second name there? Okay. Right, we're going to move into talking about what we're here to talk about, the film itself. So spoilers. Guys, we've got a bit to get through. So what I'm going to do is give each of you a couple of minutes to tell me your thoughts overall on the film. Don't go into specifics about characters and things like that, because we're going to touch on that at the end. I just want to know your general thoughts on the film, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, where you rate it in terms of Superman films. Sorrel, we're going to start with you, mate, and work.
Oh, don't start with me. Why me?
James, we're going to
You're at the
start
bottom.
with you and work our way down.
Okay. Yeah, you know, like I said earlier, I know what this character is supposed to be about, but I've never really connected with any material that I think embodied that. And I think this film absolutely does that. This is like the Boy Scout character, and I thought it just worked perfectly in it in terms of like when there's big fights and he's just all he really cares about is whipping around helping people or saving squirrels or whatever, you know. I just thought that was really amazing, and so like I just found him so Corn Sweat's so charming in this role, and I really just loved and rooted for the character the whole movie, so I thought that was great. I like the world. I think it's fun how it's kind of like, this is so comic booky, we don't really need to go into detail about how certain things can happen, and that's kind of nice, you know. And like a lot of like weird shit can be happening in the background and people don't bat an eye because it's like, yeah, this happens every week. So I really like that, and I think as a starting point for a universe, that's really good as well. I love the Daily Planet stuff. And I absolutely loved like all of that, like Jimmy Olsen. I thought was so funny in it. Like, and I that those characters' dynamics I thought was great as well. I really don't have any complaints with it at all. Like, I really just thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish, and I thought it was funny. It was heartfelt. The action was really good in it. Really good villain, Lex Luthor. I really enjoyed. They kept, I think, a lot of the comedic stuff from Gene Hackman, and I just like how petty and dickish she is. Stellar, like really stellar, and I'm more excited now for the future of the DC stuff with this as kind of the launching point.
Yeah. Good stuff. Simon, how about yourself?
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Would I go back to see it again? I don't know. It's like Man of Steel I watched quite a few times, and I really enjoyed Man of Steel. I didn't want to compare it to another Superman movie because it's its own sort of thing. It is fun. It is enjoyable. I don't think some of the comedic value hit me. That's the only problem. Like, I compared it to James Gunn's other movies like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
that's what I was doing. And like you said, Peter, it's good. I really enjoyed it, but it's not amazing. So to me, Guardians of the Galaxy still overthrows this.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. Alex.
Have you got a bit of time? I really enjoyed it. It was really fresh. You know, I saw something that Gunn said before I actually went into the film. You know, what is there? We've seen something we've seen too much of. You know, Uncle Ben get killed, Martha and Thomas Wayne die. You know, Superman land on Kent Farm as a baby. You know, it was really fresh going into it. 3 years and he's already been Superman. You know, they really kind of scaled him down a bit, which I really liked, for the fact that he wasn't like at his peak. He didn't feel invincible, which was kind of what always put me off Superman. I just thought a man with very little weakness, it's so cliche and you can kind of predict the ending. I mean, I watched your review on it, Pete, and I completely agree. You know, I was worried going into it that it was going to have too much of, you know, Gunn's toilet humor, you know, Guardians 2 Taserface, or eating dicks on the beach, as Peacemaker would refer to in Suicide Squad. But no, the humor, you know, it hit at times, and I didn't think it was too much. You know, it had the moments, and I wouldn't go on to say it's perfect, and you know, I don't know where I sit at the minute as to whether it's my favorite or not. I definitely think from the perspective of, you know, Zack Snyder's being more kind of realistic, political, darker tone, which I prefer, being someone who grew up during the Nolan Batman movies. Yeah. But then Gunn's version being a more kind of muted version, where he really struggled a lot through this movie, you know, challenges, fights and things. And don't call me a dick for saying this, it was kind of refreshing watching him get his ass kicked a lot of the time. Yeah. I really enjoyed it, because you know, you never knew the outcome for it, which is what which kept the suspense going for me, you know. Yeah. But yeah.
No, I agree. Sorrel.
So this is where you can tell the age difference gap between all of us on this panel, because like I remember, like, these guys grew up with the darker side of DC, whereas I grew up in the campy universe of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. So this film to me was a comic book come to life. Colorful, vibrant, comedic, funny, action sequences, over the top ridiculousness. That's what I love from these kind of movies. I don't want to go into a movie and be depressed when I come out of it because it's so damn serious and dark. I like the fact that this one, the fact that he saves a squirrel, the fact that he takes time to stop buildings from falling on people, and you actually, like, normally in these big fight scenes, like with the big kaiju and stuff, normally you would get a fight scene where the big Superman would fly through the buildings, whip around things, and destroy everything in sight. Whereas in this film, he felt like he actually wanted to stop them from destroying the buildings and save the people around him. And it was just an overall good movie. Although I do agree with what Wade said, I hated what they did to his parents. They made him out to be proper little inbred little weirdos. But the whole film was very good, though. I enjoyed it.
So for me, guys, as Alex has just said, I've got a spoiler video out so you can check that out. But overall, I absolutely agree. I really, really enjoyed this film. Don't think it was perfect. I do have some issues at points with it. But overall, I think it was a stonking start to the James Gunn universe. And for me, and this is the bit that does me tits in, we're allowed to like both films. We're allowed to like this and the Snyderverse version. Do you know what I mean? Without fighting and stuff like that, which seems to be the thing on the internet.
Do you know? Sorry, I'm great at interrupting. Before coming on tonight, there was one thing I really wanted to look up, and all this crap going on at the minute. People saying, "Oh, it's rubbish." Snyder this, Snyder that. It's been 9 years since the Justice League movie went into production. It's been 9 years since Zack Snyder has directed a DC movie. It's been nearly a whole decade, and people are still strung up on how they want him to come back. I think he's at the point now where he's generally sick of people protesting it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think, for me, I can enjoy the Man of Steel movies for the Superman elements and the fighting and stuff like that. And I can enjoy this one. Two very different films for us. For me, personally, there's me dog's gone mad. Tom's getting some food in. For me personally, this is my Superman. I'm not ashamed of saying, that I prefer the characters that rather than your Wolverines and your Punishers, I like your Captain Americas, your Optimus Primes, the people who inspire you to be better. That's what I want from Superman, and that's exactly what I got in this movie. And I thought Corn Sweat, his portrayal was pitch perfect for that element. I mean, the bit where Mr. Terrific pops the Kaiju's heart, and you just see Corn Sweat's face and his entire personality. He's devastated that they've had to kill the creature. That to me is what Superman should be. Death's always the kind of the thing you shy away from, which was why it was so weird to see him snap Zod's neck in the first film. So yeah, for me, great movie. We're going to go into a bit more detail as we go through, but overall great. At the end of it, guys, at the end of this, I'm going to push you and ask you to score it out of 5 for us. So just have that in your mind as we are.
We better hope he comes back for a sequel, though. I mean, all this talk online at the minute, he's saying he'd rather do a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. But why? Do if you're an actor, why wouldn't you? You want to jump in each of the franchises, wouldn't you? Sorry, you want to say something?
Actually, he's definitely coming back. He got paid $250,000 to play this role. But yeah, Shelley just saying, so him spitting up blood and having internal injuries was odd. No, Superman can be injured. That's the thing. He heals from the sun. He gets his powers from the sun, but he can be injured. He is just a bloke at the end of the day. He's an alien bloke, but he's still a bloke.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that they used that in this film. They made him more vulnerable in this one, which I like, because when he's the God character version in the other films, it's boring because there's no peril.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I guess, that fight scene, he'd had the crap beaten out of him by himself. So an equally powerful, if not more powerful, version of him.
Can I also say that we all keep saying it's the first thing in the Snyderverse, in the Gunverse, and it's not. It's the second thing, by the way.
No, it's Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos is first, and this follows on from Creature Commandos.
I could sit here for half hour and complain. Like I really enjoyed it. I recommend it. If you like the Suicide Squad and you like animated cartoons or comics, watch it. I strongly recommend it. But it did have points in it where I was like, is this Gunn's verse or Snyder's verse? Because there was characters in it, there was plot points in it, and I didn't know what universe we were in. This is the big problem I have with him bringing Peacemaker into his universe.
It definitely complicates it, I think. But I think what you said was basically it's a rough, like the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker season 1. There's a rough memory where it's non. You can take what's canon when things are mentioned and stuff like that. So Harley Quinn might look different or.
But the thing
didn't show up.
The thing that confused me, it was set straight after Peacemaker, and I don't want I'm not going to go too far into spoilers. There's this moment where a character has a vision to the future, and they see all the members of the Justice League dead, and in it you see Corn Sweat Superman. You can tell it's him by the logo on his chest.
Yeah.
But again, as I've already said, it didn't really explain how this is Gunn's verse and not Spider's verse. Spider-Verse? Jesus Christ. And Snyderverse, because, you know, as I said, post-Peacemaker.
So, not going to talk too much about that because I'm talking about that on
sorry.
Tuesday because I've watched the full season today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I've got thoughts. But also, you know, and this is going to sound really strange because I get het up on continuity. But one of the other things I guess we've got to remember is this is a comic book universe, and the comic books are shit at continuity. Do you know what I mean? So let's not get overly excited about it. But you're right.
We can't.
Fuzzy. As much as I liked it, the biggest takeaway I have is that it feels it has great rewatch value. I haven't said that a lot recently about comic book movie. Yeah, I would agree, Fuzzy.
I can't wait to go see it again. To be honest.
If there's one thing Gunn's good at, it's Easter eggs. He's always said the moment in the first Guardians movie where they meet the Collector, there are still secrets in that scene that people have not yet uncovered. And I especially think in the scene where Superman was in the prison, when it comes out in 4K, you're gonna have people doing breakdowns to see how many character references and Easter eggs they can spot in all the different cells.
Alex, shut up. So on Tuesday on our other show, dial in because we're going to be talking some of the spoilers that you saw in Superman as well, because there's a scene where you get an awful lot of images of a character that flashes by very quickly. So yeah, but I'm going to talk about that on Tuesday.
I've ruined the whole next week. You're just gonna have to
I'm just gonna stop me.
Right, that's it. No, can't do that. He's spoken about that as well.
But we need to. I'll say it for you, Pete. I'll say it for you. I get on with Alex really well. I'll say it in the words of Hamilton: "Talk less, smile more."
Wayne needs more Clark Kent bits. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of Clark in this. Phil, this is where I buy out. Chris, pace and flow of the film was spot on. Crypto and the Justice Gang provide some light comic. We're going to talk about the Justice Gang. Fight scenes were well done and balanced. Lex was well done for me. I agree. Quiz. I agree. Quiz. That's my special name for him. Wayne, loved Justice Gang. Hated how they done the Kent's mum and dad.
I disagree. I love how they're just normal people. It's not fucking Kevin Costner and Diane Lane or whatever. It's just two very normal Kansas people. I thought that was really worked for me, you know.
Simon?
I just think, the accent and Kansas accent was a bit too much. That's all.
Yeah.
It was a bit, you know. I do agree with James. I like how they were normal people, but I just think, the accent was a bit too much.
I didn't mind it, but it did feel very heavy. I loved the bit with the mum and the phone kind of shouting at the phone because she obviously doesn't understand how mobiles work.
Yeah.
That's normal to me. I loved the bit with the dad when he was outside, and I mean that brought tears to my eye.
Love that quote.
Yeah,
it was just beautiful. But I do agree. I don't know if it was the accent or what, but they really did lay on thick the country bumpkin kind of.
Yeah, they made them look like country idiots a little bit.
Yeah.
The thing is, surely if Superman brought up with them, he'd pick that up, wouldn't he? So,
yeah, you would think so. Yeah, it almost felt a little bit kind of dang 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 dang. You know, it was a bit banjo on the porch.
I'll give it that. Yeah,
it's like, oh, this is different.
I was expecting his dad to start spitting tobacco.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, Chris.
But you know, that's like Kansas cornfield workers. Yeah. You know, that's what they are. So like,
it's been 9 years and the slow-mo scene is still going on. I would agree with that. Snyder loves a bit of slow-mo, more so in those dreadful 2 films he just did for Netflix. What were they called?
Rebel something, Rebel Moon.
Yeah,
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
Awful.
Boring.
Just awful.
I didn't bother.
Oh,
Boring as hell.
Bullets bounce off him and needles bend, then why try injecting him? When did they try and inject him again?
I think she's on about in general the Superman character, like in
Oh,
the comic
it's-
books, like in the previous movies, the shot at him and then a bullet bounced off his eyelid, didn't it? They had his eyes.
I think they did show the injection scene in Superman Returns at one point.
when he's lying.
So,
on the plane.
This version of Superman, though, in the gun universe, is a little bit more that he bleeds, is a bit more vulnerable, which is better. It's more, I prefer that.
Kenneth,
He gets that in the animated as well. He gets in the Justice League. So
it's a common misconception, as Sora said, that Superman cannot be hurt. He absolutely can. He can get the shit kicked out of him, and he often does. I mean, his fight with Doomsday is one of the best fights I've ever seen. You know, the fight with Manchester Black when he's bleeding from his eyeballs and stuff. You know, it makes him. Kenneth, I'm still here for all my good friends. I have 21 short boxes, 95 each box times 2. I always put 12 comic books and a back and board. That's how many comics books I have. Good stuff, Kenneth. Thank you for watching, mate. Kenneth, you always do give some support, so appreciate you jumping on, mate, and watching. It sounds like you've got a hell of a collection there. C4 Darkman, I like the film. Still don't like the costume. I can see why it's splitting the opinion.
I think it's yes. That's the only thing I don't like. The S. I think it's more Zeddy.
I thought you said yes.
Yeah.
I think I would have preferred a traditional S emblem, I have to say. Well, we'll get into the shorts in a bit, guys. We'll do it now. I couldn't give a flying fuck about the shorts. I like the shorts. It's the iconic costume.
They're not shorts. They're not shorts.
Well, whatever did you see the interview with Gunn where, I mean, he was up until the last minute when he was going to use them or not. But one of the rationales they had for Superman was that he's aware that he's a god and he's scary and he's Ben Steel and blah, blah, blah. So he wants kids to not be frightened of him. So his ma had suggested wearing the underpants because it makes him look silly.
Like, I like that.
It makes him look silly, and that means kids can talk to him more. I think, do you know what? That's a good enough excuse for me. Yeah. And then within the film, it didn't faze me at all.
He's flying about too much. You don't really notice.
Sorrel, what are you saying?
No, don't mind. I'll get cancelled for saying no. I'm gonna leave
my
it
channel.
back
You can see it what you want.
I was gonna say that if I wore pants over the top to attract more children, I think we'd all be in trouble. You know what I mean?
That is true.
So that was the wrong group of words to say out loud.
What did you think? Did it really bother you, the pants?
I barely noticed, to be honest.
No.
It didn't bother me. I didn't give it one negative thought at all. It just worked for me, the whole costume. Like I think I would, like, generally design wise, I would prefer like a thinner one. It's very thick, and like the collar I'm not a fan of. But like I didn't care for.
I thought you were slung about his shorts for a minute, James. They're really thick and
the fur was unnecessary. Yeah.
Loads of people were comparing it to the Guardian suits in Volume 3. You know how they all had like the lining going down the side, kind of like it's kind of modern superhero. I kind of see it a lot nowadays with movies. You see Wolverine and then Sentry in the recent Marvel movies. They look very, very similar.
The weird kind of paneling and stuff is very much Jim Lee inspired New 52 costumes. But yeah, I didn't bother me in the slightest. Guy Gardner is excellent. I loved every single scene.
A lot of people complained about his look, didn't they? But it didn't bother me either. So
it's comic book. It's very comic book.
Literally, he has, and they say it in the movie. It's like that haircut should be.
I love that bit.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Another.
My watch should watch.
Another big. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on, mate. No, go on, mate. Go on.
Another big concern going into this for me was the worrying bits with Gunn's friends in. I didn't want it to take me out of the movie, because that's what I felt with Volume 3 when his wife showed up. It was just like him giving them another paycheck, pay the bills, gas, electric, stuff like that. But no, and I thought Nathan Fillion. That's how I thought, great job with Sky Gardner.
I loved Nathan Fillion. I'll watch anything. But I went into this. Sorry, apologies.
No, go on, mate. Go on.
No, you speak.
I was just gonna say the bit with the bit where he's using his powers and stuff, and he's basically sticking ones up, isn't he? Like the big ones up. I love that. That was brilliant.
Great. I went into this worried for two things. Worried that there was going to be too much James Gunn humor. I think it was perfect, really. And worried that there was too many characters chucked in here. I actually came out thinking, I wish there'd been more interaction, because I loved the Justice Gang.
I know there's a lot of people because Hawk Girl doesn't get much at all really to do in this film. Yeah, I think Mr. Terrific got the bulk of that.
I
And
think
yeah,
Mr.
you know.
But
Do you
even-
think Hawkgirl's going to reappear though in the Lanterns? Do you reckon that's why they
I hope
introduced
so.
her with Guy Gardner? Do you think she's going to turn up in that a bit?
I hope so. But even you're right, she did so little in it, but she's already for me more memorable than Hawkgirl in Black Adam.
Yeah,
I
100%.
loved the. I
That's
loved
'cause
the.
Hawkgirl's
That was
not in
Hawkman.
Black Adam.
Hawkman, sorry.
Hawkman.
Well, I
Yeah,
am,
yeah.
I loved the screaming as she was attacking people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That, I
that
just
was
thought that looked so and sounded so cool. Metamorpho, I thought was brilliant in this. Rex, I thought he was. Yeah, I loved
Mr. Terrific stole the show. I think he had at certain points in the film. I thought he had better moments than even Superman. But I think that's a common thing with superhero movies at the minute. Though it's having cameos and appearances from other superheroes, and I completely agree. I didn't want them to overshadow it, but I do felt they were well put into the film. They were needed. They were in it when they were most needed. Yeah.
No, I thought they were great. And Mr. Terrific, one of my favourite scenes, him and Lois, when they're going into the tent and the T spheres are flying all over. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I loved Lex. I know he's not everybody's favourite. I thought Nicholas Holt's. I mean, I love Nicholas Holt. I thought his performance as Lex Luthor was perfection for me. There's a bit where he's crying at the end out of pure frustration, and it's because, for me, the best version of Lex, and I think we've got this with Nicholas, is always not just the maniacal businessman. It's the man who actually truly believes he's saving the world because this is an alien conqueror kind of. Do you know, he's in the right. Everything he's doing is right. And yes, there's a land grab because it's a Superman movie, so Lex is always trying to steal land. But I just thought he was perfect in it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I've heard a lot of criticism about his performance.
His recent movies are great as well. Nosferatu, The Menu, the one with Clint Eastwood producing. They're all great. For me, as I said already, though, I think personally it was just an age thing. I picture Lex Luthor mid-40s, 50s. That's just a personal opinion.
I was expecting him to get into the armor at the end.
I would have thought so. Yeah,
I don't know if anyone saw the multi-pack from, I think it was Argos, and there was a figure of him in the power suit, and whether or not it was a deleted concept or something, or it was just something they threw in just to
I
get people to
love
buy it.
like the pettiness of him is one of my favorite things. Like he puts his ex-girlfriends in the pocket dimension, like imprison them. I thought that was great.
The monkeys were that got with me.
The best pettiness was such a simple throwaway gag. Was when he knocks the cup on the floor and tells people to pick it up, and then they put it back and he just knocks it off. I loved it. I felt the kids had a nice, not a kind of old charm to them. I guess. I want to go back and rewatch it. You guys are always too picky about the most random stuff. It's because we're nerds, Fuzzy. It's because we're nerds and we're fans.
Without us being ridiculously picky, you would have no show, Fuzzy. So
But Fuzzy gives out about when we're too nice on things as well. You have to find.
can't win.
I loved his outfit. It was perfect. Simon's face bothers me. I mean, I agree. Love Nathan Fillion no matter what he's in. Yeah. You need to raise your hands when you speak. Let's have some order. Can't wait to see the guys in Lightens. Yeah.
Nathan Fillion said he's never sworn as much in anything he's ever done than Lanterns. So I think they're going.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that as well. Where Hawkgirl drops the guy. Yeah, I like that. The haircut comment from Lois was delivered perfectly too. Yeah, I love that as well. Love that.
She was a great Lois. I liked her interpretation as well.
Well, that moves we're on to the cast. And guys, I don't want to go through in great detail, but I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm interested what you guys thought. I've pinched these slides, as you can see, from the Legacy of Nerd. Great site to check them out. I was thinking about all of this assembled cast. I don't think there's a weak performance in the lot. Every single one of them brought something really interesting to the mix. Even the bad guys, who traditionally can be a bit one-dimensional, were pretty good. I liked the engineer. We'll talk about him later on.
Okay. Shout at me if you want. The on the cast, the blonde girl from The Office, from the Daily Planet. She's there and she's got like a character. Like, is she someone big in the comics or something? Because I've got no idea who that was meant to be. I know who Jimmy Olsen is.
Cat, yes.
Yeah.
So in the comics and in she's been in Supergirl TV series, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay.
She's kind of their gossip columnist.
Right. Okay. They didn't explain that in the movie at all
yeah.
who she was. She just
Yeah.
turned up.
I mean, they're all just members of the news team, I guess you would
Yeah.
say. Can you think of anybody that you think didn't bring something to the mix?
I didn't think I have no issues with any of the performances, but I did wonder what the hell Rick Flag Senior was doing in it. He had barely any screen time, barely any explanation as to why he was on the scene other than being Lex Luthor's assistant. You know,
it's just a fun cameo, I think, really. And then
yeah, I mean
makes sense
we've
of
got to
the
look forward
universe,
to him
but-
in Peacemaker later in the year. So
yeah, I think
follows
they're
on.
going to connect him with later movies, aren't they? So
He's in Creature Commandos. It follows on from that
He's-
universe.
yeah.
After
They didn't-
that, so
they barely referenced that though. I mean,
no, they don't need to because he meant to have seen the first thing. You meant to have seen that first. It's the
I
start of the
think
universe.
I think he's going to be a bit not Nick Fury, but he's going to be linked to a lot
Yeah.
of these different shows and stories.
Because
and I
the
think the
thing.
way-
Sorry, go on, mate, I'm talking over you.
No, you're sorry.
No, because Fuzzy will go mad if I don't put my hand up. So you go.
I think what they're leaning towards is that he's going to be assembling a kind of an anti-meta-human task force.
You mean a bit like Suicide Squad?
A bit like Suicide
Yeah.
Squad, yeah.
I
Anybody-
like the guy with the mustache purely for the "why don't I have a seat" joke. I thought that was that I proper nearly started crying.
Because this is Rick Flag Senior. This is not the guy from Suicide Squad. This is Dad, isn't it? So this is the original Rick Flag.
even
This is
though
General.
even though there's like a 10-15 year age gap, which is
So-
a bit
Grillo's
odd, but-
60.
Yeah, I
But
think.
Gorilla's quite a lot older than he looks.
Yeah, I
60.
think.
Oh,
Yeah, he's 60.
I didn't think there was much of an age gap.
But probably 18, 20 years. Yeah.
So, thinking of those guys, then, aside from Superman and Mr. Terrific, because I don't think that's fair, favorite character, and we'll have a bit of order. So, out of all of these characters, I want your third favorite. Well, take Superman and Terrific out. So, James, who do you enjoy the most out of this lot?
You know, I really love Jimmy Olsen. I really loved his whole thing in it. I thought that was great. And I remember before seeing the movie that there was talk of James Gunn just threw out there that Jimmy Olsen spin-off is something they're thinking of. And I was like, that's ridiculous. And after coming out, I'm like, I want to see that. I just love how like women are swimming. He's the most average looking guy I've ever seen, and women are just swimming over him, and how that actually like
The ginger.
comes into
It's the
plot
ginger.
later. Yeah.
The same issues when I was a younger man.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant. So like, yeah, I loved him. Lex just was amazing as well. So yeah.
Jimmy. Okay. Simon.
I loved the other baddie woman, the cybernetic one. Engineer, yeah.
I thought she was very cool, actually. I thought she had some good scenes as well. Alex.
I'm going to sound like a simpleton, partly because I don't know a lot of the other characters, just down to me not doing a lot of reading DC other than Batman. But personally, and I honestly, at first when it was announced he was going to be in it, I wasn't looking forward to it. But I'm going to say Superdog just for the purpose of not saying the K word in case you get pop-ups like Sorrel. Crypto, I just loved it. I laughed my ass off at some of his scenes. They were excellent, you know. And if there's one thing I will say, it's that whatever sells, the Snyder fans, you know, don't buy tickets whatsoever. It will be made up in both blind bags and plushies that Sora will buy of Superdog.
I mean, I know Wayne in the chat didn't like Crypto. I loved Crypto, and I was worried it was going to be silly, but I loved it.
I like
Sorrel?
how he's just a little shit, like
Yeah.
a lot of dogs are. He just doesn't listen to you half the time. I thought that, they captured like the frustration of being a dog owner really well. I thought,
Sorrel.
Just to wind up Fuzzy, I'm not going to say Crypto. I'm gonna go back to Lex Luthor. I thought he stole the show. Nicholas Hoult really was amazing in this. I liked him. I thought he played a really good. I was really worried about Nicholas Hoult being in this. I didn't think he was old enough to play that character. But to be fair, opposite Cornsweat, they are of similarish age, so it worked. You can't have a 40-year-old Lex Luthor and a 20-year-old Superman. It doesn't work. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it worked.
So for me, I'm going to say every single time Guy Gardner was on screen, I just smiled because he's exactly what I wanted. An arrogant, self-absorbed prick.
Cocky shit.
Yeah, and I just loved it. I cannot wait. I'm hoping beyond hope we'll get to see a rendition of the Justice League story where Batman and Guy Gardner have their first fight. You guys read that comic? It's incredible. So Guy Gardner's being his usual arsehole, cocky self, blah blah blah, and he faces off against Batman, and they build it up, and Batman just lays him flat with one punch, and everybody's just standing taking the piss, laughing at him, and it's just classic. So yeah, absolutely loved that, and I loved everybody in it. I thought they were great.
On the subject of Green Lantern, something else that made me laugh with James Gunn was, and he said when it came out that he was DC CEO, Ryan Reynolds texted him and say, "Congrats, man." And he said, "Oh, thanks. Want to come back as Green Lantern?" And he replied, "Fuck off." Sorry, language.
No, you can swear on this channel. You're all right. Chris is exactly like my dog, but flies. Crypto is brilliant. Yeah, I love Crypto. Did they call him Bizarro? I don't think they did, Dungeon Crawler.
No.
But there is very much a scene where you see a pocket universe where he ends up at the end, and a lot of the planets are squares. So it's leaning into the Bizarro universe and the Bizarro world. Yeah. So I think he'll be back as Bizarro. Younger Supes and Lex work because it's only supposed to be 3 years since Superman's turned up.
Exactly.
Absolutely. For me, the initial trailers, I hated the idea of Krypto being in it. Turns out I loved it. Came out of the cinema wanting to own a dog. Good stuff. So, guys, the big spoilers, ladies and gents, but there are a couple of relatively big mythology changes, or first time we've seen them in this. First of all, we get this thing about Superman's glasses being hypno glasses. So people can't see that he's Clark Kent.
Yeah,
I didn't mind that in the slightest. I don't.
Explains it.
Yeah, explains. I didn't think.
I like the get up. It was difficult to tell. I mean, if you were to put the two on the screen, it would take me a little while to realize they're the same person. You know, and I do feel I wish we got more of a Clark Kent. You know,
and you know, I think during the interview scene, where they're doing the voice kind of interviews, that like he changes his demeanor fully, like I thought, you know, his personality
Very
changes
butch.
and everything like that. So he was able to convey that even just through the voice.
it's when he sat forward and he said Miss Lane, very strong and
Changed his tone, didn't he?
Very similar to the original movie. There's a superb bit with Christopher Reeve where he's in Lois's apartment and he's toying with the idea of telling her he's Superman. And you see him physically change on screen. He takes his glasses off and he stands straighter. And it's incredible. For a performance perspective, it's incredible. He just turns into Superman without any of the fancy costuming. It's one of my favourite scenes. The guys are saying that the glasses are from the comics. I'm not familiar with that, so that's interesting. So it's already been kind of mentioned.
I think it was a 60s like silly thing that has never been considered
glasses.
properly canon.
In the 70s.
70s.
Excuse me. I posted the panels on my stories last week. I didn't spot that one, Fuzzy. But yeah, it didn't faze me. The biggest shift, and again, this might be one of the very many comic origins. I don't know, but it's not one that I'm familiar with. It's certainly in some of the modern iterations, it makes more sense. Is that the people of Krypton... Oh, sorry, Ash, didn't spot your hand up.
Thank you. Sorry, just Fuzzy gets upset if we don't put his hands up. So I'm putting my hands up. Did nobody else interpret the glasses thing as so I interpreted that as that they knew that Superman thought he was wearing glasses that was hypno glasses, but they all were making a joke of it in the film. It felt like they were making a joke of that. So I thought it was like they were joking. I didn't realize that was a thing.
No, I think he's being dead serious. And,
do you think?
Even earlier he says, "Well, what about the glass?" Like she says, someone's gonna clock that to you eventually. And he goes, "Well, with the glasses." So
I took that as a joke. That sounds like a joke.
I think they're being genuine.
And when they were talking in the sort of Hall of Justice, and they sort of again make a joke of it, where she says, "Oh, it's the glasses." It's like I took that as a gag, but maybe I didn't realize it was a thing in the comics.
Well, no, I can see how it would be interpreted as a joke because it did feel a bit flippant. Alex.
Sorry, I must say I do like the hands up thing. I don't like interrupting. I don't want to come across as a dick because I'm so excited, you know. But I do want to say, while we're touching on the whole glasses interview thing, you know, after the announcement that he was going to direct this, plus the first trailer, I think for me the scene that sold it through the trailers was definitely the intense interview between him and Lois. It was just how it got like super political. It didn't feel like it was going to be a really, you know, very charming, you know, kid-friendly kind of film. I like that it touched on the political aspects, and that's what sold me on it through the trailers. You know, it wasn't the action, it wasn't him getting his ass kicked, it was the interview.
And I found all of that, you know, so intriguing, and the fact that you've got that dickhead Dean Cain coming out and saying, "Oh, it's woke and blah blah blah." it's like people don't understand the story. Superman is the ultimate immigrant story. Do you know what I mean? Strange visitor from a distant planet and all the rest of it, making it in America. It's the story of America, written by two Jewish guys. Do you know what I mean? That's the entire point of the story. So I don't get people getting upset about it. I know they've made it very political. Yeah, and actually the setup, two warring nations getting involved, it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Fuzzy saying next week we'll have shirts and ties too, some decorum to the show. Absolutely fuzzy. But
School uniforms.
School uniforms. You didn't put your hand up there, Alex. You did.
Points deducted.
The other big change, obviously, is this Kryptonian message, which now says that he was sent to Earth to kind of rule over and things like that. I'm with C4 Darkman. I think we're going to get more to that in future, because I can't imagine that really being the end message. James?
I love that. I think it is very similar to the Batman as well, where in that it's like, oh, the Waynes weren't good people.
Yeah.
I think it like, you know, from a culture perspective, like Krypton is so vastly different. Like they even speak a different language and everything. It's like, yeah, you go to this planet. Like, it's not to forward some empire like the Viltrumite things. It's literally like you go and you rule over them. That's what you do because you're more than they are, and that's just a culture thing for Kryptonians, I suppose. So like, I liked it. I liked how it, at a point, he questions who he is and what his purpose is. So that kind of crisis of conscience, I thought was really great, and I love the conversation that led to with the Parkent, where he's like, you're not what you're told to do. You are your actions, you know. And I thought that was really great. So like, I honestly thought it was a really great twist. I really enjoyed that element.
The end scene where he says the robots say we'll put his parents on screen, and it's his
beautiful moment.
Beautiful, yeah.
So it's interesting because this does make sense from a comic book perspective, because one of the things we have seen, and again, comic books, as I've said, don't do continuity very well. There's been tons of different versions of Krypton, interpretations and all the rest of it. But it's a pretty shitty society in some of the tales. You know, it's a very autocratic, hierarchical society, with the science guys being top tier and the workers being bottom. And let's not forget, in proper continuity, it was the Kryptonians that actually created Doomsday by basically killing him billions of times, scraping his dead cells up and then regrowing them. So they actually engineered and made Doomsday in the comic books. So it does make sense. It's just a little bit sad.
I don't think it was correct. I don't think that is correct. I think I think the message was changed by when she hacked into the machine basically and said there's more to this message. I think they uncovered the real message, and Lex took an opportunity to, because nobody on Earth is going to speak Kryptonian. Let's be honest, except Superman. And when they played the clip, they didn't play their voices in the background. It was dubbed over. So I think that he changed the message, and in the next thing or in Supergirl or something, we're going to get the true message, and we're going to get a warning of Zod or something like that.
I don't think that's the message the movie wants to tell. I think it would be pointless otherwise. And like they reaffirm so many times from so many different characters that this has to be genuine. I think it would be a moot point doing that otherwise. You know, I wouldn't like them to backtrack on it. I'd like them to keep it as is.
But I think it's put to bed. It is put to bed, isn't it? That it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what happens. Alex?
Yeah, it's the whole thing with the parents and how it's making him as human as any Superman we've seen. It's how being human is his weakness. You know, it's definitely the bit I loved, how by the end of the movie he was kind of more pushed towards his human side than he was his Kryptonian side. I love that aspect to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, guys, we'll then get some unexpected guest stars, I guess. Mm-hmm. We'll get Supergirl, who's the owner of Crypto, which I didn't see coming because I've not read that line of books. For me, Crypto has always been Superman's dog, but I know in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Crypto is very much her dog, I think. I loved that. I was really taken aback at how that character portrayed. She kind of bumbled on, looked pissed as a fart, stuck her finger up or whatever. He looked absolutely sick of his life, and I thought that this is interesting. This is not the dynamic I was expecting to see. What did you guys think?
I'm more excited for her movie now because she's just like a party girl and has to kind of grow up a bit. I think that's a really fun take to do with it.
Yeah.
Pete, who's the guy on the right? Because I can't see him.
That's just a blank slide. Or a blank slide.
Yeah, I thought it was.
You're
then-
gonna milk it. You're gonna
Yeah.
milk
Mate,
it.
that's I've got in every single live stream. Have you ever noticed that I get a John Cena reference in and a Hamilton reference in
Oh
every
god!
stream?
If we do a Peacemaker screen, that's all we're gonna get.
Oh,
Who are
I
we
thought you
talking
were gonna
about?
get-
Who is
Who we
that?
talking about again?
I
Who's
don't-
that?
what is it with these streams? There's no pictures of anyone.
So we did get a Peacemaker on the news bit, and I quite enjoyed that as well. I thought that made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the other kind of big reveal was that, as I think a lot of were expected, that the Ultraman character turned out to be a clone of Superman. People had been rumbling that it was going to be Lobo and all kinds of stuff. and that
Cavill,
didn't make
yeah.
sense. Yeah, Cavill was that. I mean, that would have been.
That was a missed opportunity.
I'm sorry. I'll be saying I wasn't. I was disappointed, to be honest. I mean, I kind of expected it. I think the whole purpose of it is so that people who hadn't read the comics, got the surprise of it being a clone of Superman when he revealed himself. But yeah, I definitely felt like it was a missed opportunity. Plus,
I mean,
you never
when he-
know. Sorry, you never know. It might have actually interested more Snyder fans to watch it if it was like one final goodbye
I
for
think-
Cavill.
I
with
think,
his long
like,
hair,
a while down the road, we might get the evil Superman thing that becomes a multiversal threat or something like that, like in Phase 3 or whatever.
I like that. Cavill can be Zod. I like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or an Injustice version.
With the new Kryptonian background thing, I think you have an interesting thing with Zod there, where maybe he never betrayed the dad. He's actually he comes to check on his progress or something like that, and it's surprised. That kind of interesting dynamic.
It's not touched on in this movie, Kevin, but I can't remember the origin of Krypto, if I'm honest. I don't know how Krypto got to Earth. He might have been in with Supergirl. Any of you guys know?
No.
I'm
He said
not sure.
he said in the film it was more of a foster situation. I think in this universe they're going to make out that he came with Supergirl.
Yeah.
It's her
Yeah.
dog in this run, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you. I mean, like I said, I loved it. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it, seeing him in Supergirl. And my biggest worry going in the next year was having a Superman movie and then a Supergirl movie. I thought that might have been a bit much, but knowing now it's going to be more of like a cosmic Guardians of the Galaxy style movie, that's something to look forward to.
So
Sorry.
sorry, my biggest question is what sort of Batman is it going to go with? James
I'm
Gunn
just-
to
I'm
fit
just
fit in with all
praying.
this.
I'm just
Yeah.
very left pivot.
Sorry, Simon. We're finished talking Superman. Simon's
Yeah.
Batman.
No, but that's my biggest question. What
I
what
was
Batman
gonna
is-
I was
go
gonna
with it.
touch on that as well at one point.
We'll get to it at the end about the future of the.
Yeah. Let's focus on Superman.
I think, there was something interesting said about, again, going back to the whole super underpants statement. James Gunn said it was less likely that Batman would have the iconic undies on. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, Simon. But I think you're right. It's going to be interesting.
He's already kind of said, hasn't he? He's already said, really. He's already given us the idea of where he's going. Because they've already said it. This universe is already in the making of stuff. We're not going to get a backstory. We're going to get Batman and Robin. He's already said that multiple times in the interview.
Brave and the Bold, was it
Bold.
someone he
Yeah,
said he
Brave
was
and the
going to aim for?
Yeah. So he's not going for like the early era of the Waynes getting shot and all that. He's going to do what he did with Superman. It's going to be text on a screen, giving you a bit of backstory, and then jumping straight in.
What do you
But
What do you want to see, Simon? We'll do it.
Well-
now. What do you want to see for Batman?
like that connection that we had with Batman versus Superman movie, and so something like that. So
Do you want to see Patterson back in? Do you want Patterson to be this?
I don't think
universe's
Patterson
Batman?
can play it. That's the thing,
No.
because it
I
was
think-
so dark and serious. Patterson's was that
Yeah.
it just wouldn't fit.
I think similar. Sorry,
Alex.
I think similar age they would make a good pair. Gunn has always said his movies they're going to be with different target audience, like they're doing a horror Clayface movie. So to an extent, I think it could work. But at the same time, hey, I mean, he's done so well with Superman. I trust him with Batman, whatever he does. But sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, I slightly, before we come to James, I slightly disagree with Simon in terms of, I think you do make Batman just as dark and just as gritty, because that's a great playoff to Superman's optimism.
So you're going to have Superman being all, Boy Scout, and then all of a sudden you're going to get Batman talking like this in the background.
Again,
It's too bright in this city. Like, we got to go to
no,
Martha.
Martha.
I think the the interesting thing is the difference of outlooks. James, you had your hand up.
I'm really hoping that they just say F it and make Pattinson the Batman for the. I think the only thing that would make that hard now is that he wants to do a Damian Wayne story, and Pattinson I think is only supposed to be 25 or something like that. So unless you make it like Talia was a childhood, you have to kind of retcon and stuff for that. But I think they'd work really well together. I want a really dark Batman movie. I don't want silly. They need to tone down the silliness a little bit. I do want like some of the weirder stuff, like the Mr. Freeze and that kind of Poison Ivy, that kind of stuff. But like, I think that's the right tone to go for this universe's Batman, regardless.
I'm hoping that they just do a Batman movie where it's Batman and Robin, but I want it to be the second Robin, so then you can have Nightwing, because we've never had a live action Nightwing. We always do Robin, and why can't we now have a live action Nightwing?
Yeah,
and just jump down the line a bit. We don't need the origin stories of everyone.
You
again.
saw how many characters they fit into this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They are the entire Bat family in that.
Yeah,
film,
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
we're getting Supergirl, so I mean, we're already further down the Superman line.
Yeah.
So we need to be further down the Batman line. You know what I mean?
I think we got all the Robins and Nightwings and everything.
That'd be cool.
Girls,
Alex.
Sorry, I just don't want to keep interrupting. It's really rude. Yeah, just two things. On the subject of Nightwing, we do have a Teen Titan project down the line. Whether that will be Dick Grayson, who knows? And then my second thing, which is the last Batman thing I want to talk about, because this is a Superman stream, and I feel really horrible going off topic. Who would be your fan picks? Personally, right, if they're doing Damian Wayne, I feel he has to be an older Batman. Personally, fan pick for me, because I just love this actor and I think he'd make a great Bruce Wayne, the philanthropist aspect to it, billionaire. John Hamm, that would be my personal pick, I think. But a fan pick that I have seen, which I do think would fit, is definitely Glenn Powell. This guy,
Glenn Powell,
you probably,
you
can't even, you're just seeing a white face, aren't you? You can't even see anything. It's like a silhouette.
Yeah, no, he's picked as well for the new Indiana Jones relaunch, isn't he?
Yep, and he's the running man in Edgar Wright's reboot.
I'll go with both of them. James is going to say Jensen Ackles.
How did you know that?
Yeah, I knew. Because
I
James,
don't think
me and you, we complete each other. We're one.
That's
we're
very
one.
true.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like I'm Batman and you're Superman.
Yeah.
I would say Jensen Ackles. I think he'd be really good. He also plays Batman in some of the animated stuff, but I think that's like more of a negative. I think that's a reason not to. I don't see them going with him because of that. John Hamm would be awesome, but I think you need someone. Like, I don't think they'll be older than 45 because you want them here for 10 or 15 years to play the character,
Jensen Ackles, brilliant actor, but another thing as well, he does have a Soldier Boy prequel project with Amazon down the line, so you don't know how long they'll be doing that or how many series.
Starts filming this week or something. So
yeah. And I think he always wanted the Star Spangled Man, character. He did try Captain America, but
right,
got
guys,
Soldier Boy in the end.
sorry, I'm just conscious of time and I'm sweating my ginger bits off here. Sorrel and Simon, have you got anybody you want to pitch for Batman, or have you not thought about it?
Not
Alan
thought about
Richardson.
it, but...
Who said that?
Alan Richardson. Yeah, the guy from Reacher.
The guy from what? Sorry, I lost you there.
Reacher.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to
he's
do
a
it
tank.
really bad.
Yeah, big build.
He's a built-up guy. He'd rival the Superman character. He'd look good in the suit.
He's way taller than Corrin Sweat, and I think they want people who are of similar height. So
interesting. Okay, guys. Final thoughts. I'm going to give you each a minute to summarize what you thought and then give us a score. All right. So again, out of 5. So whilst you are thinking, for me, overall, really strong film. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think it's without its flaws. I loved the assembled cast. Really enjoyed all the performances. It's a solid movie for me. Great start to the DCU. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. Mr. Keegan.
Yep, absolutely loved it. I love the tone. I love the characters in it. I love the silliness of it and the comic bookiness of it. I think this has really made me a Superman fan now of like the pure version of the character. I just thoroughly loved it from start to finish. I laughed. I teared up a little bit. I got very excited at action sequences. It was just an absolute blast. So yeah, I would say probably 4.5 out of 5. I'll go.
Good stuff. Stick your scores in the chat as well. Anybody that's still watching, please stick your scores out of 5. What will you give it? Simon.
I think I'm same with you. 4 out of 5. So, I really enjoyed it. So.
Good stuff. Final thoughts? Just enjoy
Final thoughts. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what comes next. So.
Excellent. Good stuff. Alex.
Yep, really good. Went into it open-minded. Wasn't expecting it to be a comparison to previous Supermans that have come before. You know, it definitely blew my expectations. It didn't feel like something over the top, especially with Gunn's previous projects. Again, it wasn't without its problems, but I completely agree. Definitely a 4.
Good stuff. And Sorel.
5 out of 5 for me.
Oh, excellent.
It put the fun back into comic book movies. It's not dark. It's not meant to be dark. It's a fun, happy movie that's just full of action sequences, and it's a popcorn flick for the for the masses. It's fun. I enjoyed it, and I hope they keep this tone going forward. I don't want them to go back to dark, dingy horribleness. I want them to keep with this fun atmosphere. This reminded me a lot, and people can shoot me if they want. This reminds me a lot of when I grew up with like your Batman and Robin and your Batman Forever. This felt on par with the comedy and the fun side of comic book movies that we've not had in a very long time.
So you know my thoughts on that, Sorrel. I don't want to go back to campiness, but I absolutely agree with you. I want optimism and fun and all that kind of stuff. And also, I am an old fart, as you all know and can tell. Does my tits in when we go to see these big action movies and it's all in the pitch black and I cannot work out. I'm squinting to see what's going on. We had a battle in broad daylight with big costumes and it was lovely to watch something unashamedly bright and superhero-y and, like you say, comic-y, you know. Oh Jesus, the Prime Minister's in. We've got a few comments in the chat, guys. Let's have a look. It's 4 fuzzers. That's high praise indeed from the Dunlop. Chris, 4 out of 5. Best hero movie in years. A perfect start of the new cinematic universe. Gunn has pulled it out with both barrels, and I can't wait for more. Absolutely, both barrels, Bell. Love that, Chris. Great. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, evening. I think my dad made me enough tools to become the new Batman. That would be interesting. I'd watch it. Joshy Boy, 4 out of 5. Superb, 5 out of 5. Shelley's seen it twice. Yeah, I didn't get to see it the second time. I'm going to go and see it again. Stephen, 4 out of 5. Lost focus on what Superman is all about in recent years. This brings it right back to what Superman is all about. I absolutely 100% agree with that, Stephen. Truss, again, ex-Prime Minister. I'd be Lex's perfect lady. I'm sure you would. And of course, you would open a pork model with dimensional portals. Jesus God. Fuzzy's asking Liz how much for a bag of giblets. Love the camera system.
Yeah, that was like even during talking scenes, it's constantly moving and constantly rotating around and everything. I love that. Like I thought that was really, it stood out to me. Like,
Will Liz outlast the cabbage though this time as Lex's girlfriend before ending up in a dimensional prison?
Yeah. And again, this is a film that when it comes out on Blu-ray or streaming or whatever, I reckon, like you were saying earlier, I think, Alex, when we start freeze framing that dimensional portal section, there's going to be so many little nods and things like that. So overall, very, very positive. People in the chat seem to love it. We seem to love it. Scores on the doors. Again, I know it's Rotten Tomatoes, but these are the critic score: 82%, some 94%, IBM 7.7. So some good scores. There are some. I think I can't remember who was talking. Empire gave it 2 out of 5. I just can't get me head out of that kind of shit. I really can't. 50 pence, Fuzzy. Get your orders in. 50 pence for giblets. That's a good deal. Alex?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, ignore the critic scores. It's it's a matter of your own opinion. Like I said, it's different. Don't expect it to be like Reeves. Don't expect it to be like Zack Snyder. It's its own thing. All right. That's what I love most about comics. It's all these different versions of these characters. But that wasn't the question I was going to ask. I just had to interrupt you there. But what I wanted to ask is, out of all of you guys, how much have you picked up in the way of Superman merch?
So I read a lot of Superman books anyway, but I've also picked up, as you know, the in art Superman, and I'm thinking I might get the hot toy one as well.
as well,
just
for why?
Look, I don't know. Yeah, but I haven't bought any of the smaller scale figures, but I probably will. And I have to say, we're in the Metro Centre today. And Fuzzy, please don't kick off Fuzzy. I was walking past Build-A-Bear, and I did feel myself stop and look in the window to see if I had a crypto. And I didn't spot one. And I'm pleased about that, because if I had seen a crypto, I think I might have bought it.
There's a better one coming. There's going to be one with movable limbs, Pete, and it looks amazing. It's realistic looking, and I'm definitely buying one.
What about the Noble collection? They're doing a plushie, and they're great with their props and soft toys from all the Harry Potter and DC stuff they've done in the past.
Well, you guys have obviously, you and Simon have picked up the book. Are you going to read more? Are you going to pick up some more books?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting through all seasons, because that has seen a lot of praise since this movie's come out. I've seen a lot of people say how much they loved it in comparison to the film. And yeah, like I said, I don't own a 1/6 Superman yet, so that's definitely on my list. I've already got the Hot Toys Batman. It does look like a chip oven there, but it's not. It is actually a cabinet. And then I'm obsessed with 6-inch figures. I got the Spin Master one for the kids because they keep touching my import stuff. I'll be honest, I'm probably going to have more fun with this than they ever will. It just makes me feel like a kid again owning these. And I don't know about anyone else, but does anyone have any Zack Snyder? I'm sorry, I'm getting them mixed up again. James Gunn signed merch. Anyone? No? No. Sorry. I had to touch on it.
What about you, Sorrel? Are you picking up much?
I got the Crypto Dog. I got the Funko Pop vinyl, and I've got the one figure from McFarlane. Yeah. At the moment, I don't think I'll get anything else. Probably, but more further down the line.
No, I'm just like, I don't have an off switch. This is the problem. I've come in here tonight, and I think Triple G's worried I'm taking his stream over.
What about you, Mr. Keegan?
No, I have a very specific merch
set of
selection
skills
that I go for. But excuse me,
set of skills.
Yes,
Sorry, you'll have to do the impression.
I just assumed that the fact that you said something, it was an insult, but it wasn't. Well, unless you're.
I have a unique set of skills. They make me a nightmare for people like you.
Muppets crossed with Liam Neeson.
From Family Guy.
Sorry, my apologies. Everybody shut up apart from James, right? James.
If Corin Sweat shows up at a convention, I'd probably get an autograph. I'd like to get a signed poster or something like that. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, chaps. Listen, this has been interesting. Thank you so much. Lots of interesting chat. I think the takeaway from this, ladies and gents, is that we've all enjoyed the movie. Little you on there, James? You tired? You tired?
I did. That was
He's had a sleep.
Yeah.
I was worried I was putting people to sleep.
I'm just thinking of my meatballs that I'm gonna have now after this.
I care.
Got meatballs for dinner.
I care.
No, I handmade them.
Handmade meatballs.
Yeah.
Very nice.
What the fuck are we talking about? Right, let's move on.
Sorry.
Tuesday night is our new live show, Panel Breakers. Looking forward to that. So all kinds of interesting stuff. Please make sure you jump on at 8 o'clock for the new show. Lots of cool stuff to talk about. A bit of a quiz, a giveaway, all kinds of shenanigans. Friday night, we've got the start of a new live show with Andy from TripleG Comics. This is Rusty Stables, again at 8 o'clock, I think, with a whole host of new comic book related content. Sorrel, anything happening over on your channel for to be aware of?
Me and you are going live on Wednesday. We'll be live on Wednesday at 8 p.m. for another Nerdy News episode. And I think James T. Keegan's joining us this week as well.
Yes.
If he can still make it. Cool. And we're going to talk all things 80s and 90s horror.
Marvellous. Looking forward to that. Alex.
We're nearly there. I know I've worn you out. It's going to be a while till you see me again. What? One final thought now that I'm on camera. #book.
How dare you?
Love it. Come on, trademark it. I want to see it on a mug on the top. You know.
Oh, don't talk mugs. Keegan gets excited.
With loads of those in it.
Don't get excited. I get angry because I don't.
Simon, anything coming up on your channel? No.
Nah. But I might start streaming games. So.
Okay, you might.
I might. Well, I've got summer holidays off soon, so I'll have lots of time. So.
Excellent. And we're going to see you. I cannot wait to see you in London. I can't wait to introduce you to my daughter and for her to see what you are. That's going to be great fun.
That was the weirdest comment you've ever made, Pete. Moving on.
I've told her all about you, so she's looking forward to meeting you. So yeah, looking forward to that. And Mr. Keegan, have we got anything coming up on One Good Scare?
Yeah, we had One Good Scare live last Friday. Talked about all the news, lots of gaming stuff as well in that one. And then our spoiler review for Bring Her Back will be up in the next couple of days as well.
I mean, if you hadn't been asleep today, you might have been able to get that one.
It's a very good point.
Just saying. Anyway, with that, we'll call it a night. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been great fun. Chaos, but fun. And we will see you all on Tuesday night. So for now, we'll catch you later. Bye.
The curtains close. It's time to go. We really hope you enjoyed the show. Check out my channel for more geeky fun and hit like, subscribe before you run. All that remains is our thanks to you from Triple G and his YouTube crew. We really do hope you come on back, but for now, that's your whack. Yeah, that's your whack.